Hi, I'm Jessica Rudnicki with Reynolds and Reynolds. Welcome back to Connected. Today, we're talking to Stephanie Balakonis about using remarketing to keep consumers interested throughout the car buying cycle. Let's get connected. Stephanie, it's great to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm really excited to have you here today because you are going to be teaching us about remarketing. And now it sounds like that can be a little complicated, a little bit difficult to pinpoint. So can you break down remarketing for us?
Absolutely. So I like to think of it as kind of like playing hot potato, that game that you see all the kids playing outside. The stress of throwing something back and forth, just praying it's not going to end up in your hands once the music stops. You know, as an adult, that's kind of hard to forget. But what if we told you that you had it all wrong and you should instead chase after that potato until it's yours? Well, that's what remarketing does. Your dealership's hottest leads are those who have already interacted with you. So instead of tossing the potato to the dealership up the street, remarketing puts the sale right back in your hands.
That is an interesting way to describe it. I've never thought of comparing a hot potato to remarketing. Can you explain how that actually works?
Absolutely. So, remarketing is online advertising targeting customers based on their previous actions. There's a bunch of different ways to do remarketing, but we'll stick with our potato comparison for now, and we'll break them down into hot, hotter, and hottest. The most basic level, video. Video is hot. It's projected that in 2021, we'll spend an average of 100 minutes a day watching online videos. So if you catch a potential customer's attention during any part of that hour and 40 minutes, even if just for one moment, you can and should target them again. So the most basic way to do that is with YouTube ads. You can target people based on what video they watched, how long or what percentage of the video they actually got to, and if they take any other actions on your site, like sharing the video, liking the video, subscribing to your YouTube channel, or even just adding their video to their own playlist.
Awesome. We do that with Connected, so that is good to know. So in that case, you're reacting to their interaction with the content, not necessarily with the dealership, right?
Right. So remarketing gets hotter when you upsell to your current customers. They're your best audience for generating future revenue because they've already given you some. It's that theory that, once they know you and like you, they're going to keep coming back to you. So one of the things with that, though, is that once people buy a car, a lot of times that first purchase is terrifying. Might be the biggest purchase they've ever made. So you're in there telling them every add-on and special feature that they're going to want, but they still have sticker shock. Once they've gotten over that initial shock and spent some time in that vehicle, they might be more open to your upsells.
Yeah, definitely. And we've talked about this before on the podcast, but I think it's worth repeating. How do you make sure that you're contacting the right people with the right offers at the right time?
So this is one of the most essential parts of remarketing is that your customer data needs to be clean and organized. It's key to every single stage of remarketing. If you don't know who someone is, you can't remarket to them. So take any information you have on your customers, their email, phone number, even their name, and you can input it into the ad platform of your choice. Well, the information required and the technical capabilities can vary by platform. In the most general terms, if they find that person in their system, they'll feed them digital ads throughout their time online.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to identify an audience, but it really doesn't say much about targeting by behavior. So what is the messaging strategy?
So when you're upselling, you want to create an ad campaign based on the amount of time it's been since that person purchased their vehicle. So in the most basic way I think about it is if someone purchased their vehicle, 3 months ago, and now it's the middle of winter, maybe you want to run ads for accessories. Maybe they need winter tires because it's icy outside. Maybe they're cold and they want to add in heated seats. So that's a really good way to know, okay, it's been a few months, they're over that initial sticker shock, they're ready for some additional accessories. If you want to promote a maintenance package, try targeting people who bought their vehicle a year or two ago. They're due for an oil change or a tire rotation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know I would personally enjoy some heated seats for this winter. It's been a little cold. Stephanie, what can you tell me about the hottest potatoes?
So the hottest potatoes are your inventory based marketing. So people who have viewed a page on your website, those are your strongest leads. They know, they went in, they looked at this sedan, they looked at this truck, and they love it. They're doing their own research. Maybe they're still comparing it to a couple other dealers. So they're ready to buy though. You want to make sure that you're still showing up. So this is where you use those dynamic style ads that can follow the person throughout the rest of their car buying research. You want to remind them of the car at your dealership that they looked at and suggest similar models that might catch their interest. This kind of ad can be extremely detailed, providing everything someone who is close to buying wants to know about the vehicles you have.
Okay, so I have a question about these type of ads. So let's say I go to the dealership's website, I see the sedan, and then I go to a like automotive news or an automotive website, and I see that same sedan pop up in the side of the website. That is dynamics. Those are dynamic style ads. Is that correct?
Correct. I like to think of it as if you've ever, visited Facebook or Google or any of the other, many websites across the web, saw something you liked, went to that website, and then all of a sudden, you're getting followed by this ad for the next month or so until you finally go, you know what, that is what I want. So that's what these ads are.
Okay, so perfect example of remarketing, and there you have it. So you explain the hot, the hotter, and the hottest ways to reengage customers with your marketing. So Stephanie, that is great advice. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience today?
Absolutely. So, I guess the first thought I have is just make sure you're actually remarketing to your customers. So, when someone comes into your dealership, collect their email, make sure it's correct, make sure you're getting all of the information you can from them, and make sure you're updating your, DMS data on a regular basis and keeping your information correct. I also want to recommend that you double check the code on your website. We can remarket with these fancy dynamic ads only if the code is right. So just make sure you have those two pieces to the puzzle in place, and then you can go forward and target your customers for the right message at the right time.
Wonderful. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Stephanie provided some great information on using remarketing to stay connected to buyers who have shown interest in your dealership. Before we hop off, just a quick reminder, you can watch or listen to past and future podcast episodes on YouTube or Apple and Spotify podcasts by searching for the Connected Podcast. Subscribe on these channels to get notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.